So, I really want Bong-hwan to stay in the body of the queen. I think the drama wants Bong-hwan to stay in the body of the queen. It's just that Bong-hwan doesn't seem to want to stay in the body of the queen. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I need to sit down. I posted this tweet around the time episode 6 of Mr. Queen aired. Bong-hwan and Joseon hadn't had the slightest romantic spark between them, and it seemed like the best we could hope for was a comrade in arms type romance between the king who was pretending to be weak and the arrogant modern day chef trapped in the body of a 17th century queen. Now, despite being a strong fan of romances as well as of BL dramas, I liked it. I thought that this mainstream drama was doing something new by not focusing on the romance between the main leads. After all, the king seemed deeply in love with his concubine. Surely the real story was about this conceited chef learning to respect women while being trapped in the body of one, while solving convoluted court problems before going back to his original body and timeline. And yes, I knew that this drama was an adaptation of a romantic C-drama, but I just assumed that the PDN writer decided to do things differently. And I was wrong. Came the watershed episode 8, and our main duo were kissing suddenly and passionately. Mind you, before this romantic moment could happen, Bong-hwan had to discover that his real body was comatose and therefore he couldn't go back to it. And, more importantly, he had to lose his male thinking voice. Now this symbolically put his past to rest and progressed his unwilling transformation into womanhood. Now yes, Bong-hwan's original personality is still intact, but the audience is no longer reminded in any obvious way that he used to be male. And I have a theory that this erasure of Bong-hwan's mental voice and therefore the reminder of his original gender was done deliberately so that the majority of K-drama viewers who are not comfortable with gay relationships could still watch the second half of the drama, which progressively gets more romantic. This way, the boy love elements are a lot less in their face. But you know what the truly scary thing here is? Bong-hwan is losing his identity because he can't differentiate between his own feelings and memories and the feelings and memories of the original owner of this body. And he's the only one who knows that this is happening. The man has no one to talk to. And the one time he talks to a doctor about his problems, the doctor, not knowing what the real issue is, tells him to just accept that his identity is being mystically and forcefully erased, because acceptance will make the process less painful. So, I'm really enjoying this drama because Shin-hye-sun is bae, but I'm also grappling with the realization that this is a gender dysphoria horror story trapped in a romance drama. I don't know where to go from here. Okay, so let's look at it this way. Yes, it's scary and tragic that Bong-hwan is losing his sense of self while a dead queen's feelings and memories takes over his mind. But on the other hand, if he has to be trapped in this body forever and the real Soyeon is really gone, accepting the changes is the only way for him not to lose his mind. It's also the only way the audience is ever going to see a happily ever after. And while yes, it's a really messed up what if scenario, but that's why I love science fiction and fantasy. It looks for solutions to problems we would never face in real life. As yet. However, in all seriousness, I don't think that addresses why I'm feeling uncomfortable. Have you ever noticed that whenever Bong-hwan is having a realization that he's lost a bit more of himself while gaining some more of Soyeon's memories, it's always played for laughs. Haha, the drama seems to say. There he goes whining about losing some more of his identity. And if those moments aren't completely farcical, it's because the actor Shin-hye-sun refuses to let any scene be just slapstick. But the intention behind those scenes is to make us laugh. And they succeed because it's comical. However, consider this. It's not funny from Bong-hwan's perspective. And it's definitely not funny from the perspective of the people around the queen watching her say and do really strange things. It's only funny to the audience and because we don't think Bong-hwan's original life mattered much. Now, I'm not suggesting that it's a conspiracy, but it's definitely deliberately set up that way. Now remember that we were shown a very shallow version of the original Bong-hwan. He was a top chef, very arrogant, very famous, fancied himself a Casanova, and was hated by this one Blue House staff member who framed him and later caused him to fall into a coma. He's far more fleshed out as a character after he becomes Queen Soyeon and tries to survive palace politics. And also, Shin Hye-sun is just a far more entertaining actor than Chae Jin-hyuk. All of which means that we are rooting for Bong-hwan to stay as Soyeon. We think that his life has more meaning here. We also just want our happily ever after. Which is fine, it's all fine. Let's ignore Bong-hwan's own will. It's all fine. But what is not fine? The element that I find is missing from this story, and I have kind of come to expect it of K-dramas no matter how comedic it is. They will milk the heck out of a joke and then they will turn around and ask you to feel sympathy for the person you were just laughing at. K-dramas are amazing at holding up a mirror to us. But in the case of Mr. Queen, while we are constantly reminded how tragic Soyeon's life was, the drama never spares a real moment to consider how horrific Bong-hwan's life is right now. And I don't understand why.